other things that I have to do to be with you guys, but we are going to be talking about our restoration plan sales builder. You guys can all see my screen, right? My screen is working well for everybody. Yes, thumbs up, Brad. Can you give me a thumbs up if this screen is working well? Is it working? Bess, is the screen working for you? Do you see my screen share?
No, I actually do not. I see you, but not your screen.
You see me, you don't see my screen. Okay. All right. That's good. Is it better now? You guys can see. All right. You really don't want to see me. The glam team did not come to my house today. I'm not a Kardashian, so you want to see my screen and not me. All right, you guys. So welcome to our webinar, Restoration Plan for the Sales Builder. You want to, the purpose of today is to help you guys grow. And I'm going to start by introducing myself. Richelle Mordecai, 27 years in B2B and B2C, 25 years as a sales trainer. I have won an award because of my first book in personality assessment and the impact that that book produced in an organization that was doing over $1 billion per year. But I've been in our industry for 18 years as a coach, as a trainer, and as a consultant. And I work right now as the fraction CRO or Chief Revenue Officer for restoration companies. Now, all of this is not to impress anybody, but to impress upon you that there's a few thoughts that I think are important to share. And I believe in giving back to an industry that has brought me to where I am professionally and personally as well. So my goal for 2024, my commitment is that every month I'm going to put together a webinar and share with the industry to help people, like Tad said, not only to learn something new, but to be able to implement something new and produce results within their organization. If you guys want to join by camera, I would really love that because I'm here alone in my office and it's really nice when I get to see friendly faces, but it's up to you. All right. So have you ever, I like to start my webinars by always getting a question asked that people can start thinking about. Have you ever felt stuck with your business? You couldn't see a way to grow. You're confused maybe about creating a strategic sales plan or wondered if your sales, marketing, and business development team was doing all they could to grow. If you have answered yes to any of these questions, this webinar is for you. If you didn't say yes to any of these, well, you might want to stick around just because you want to be nice, but probably not a good way to spend your time. But this is what we're going to be covering today. And for me, it's very important that I like to share with people that in business and in life, where focus goes, energy flows. So if you want to grow your sales, you must focus on sales. You must train your team for sales. And you need to embrace the concept that you do sales first and ops second. What a shift in concept. We're talking about if I want to grow in sales, I need to focus on sales. I need to train my team to become better at sales. And I need to embrace the concept that I am a sales organization and my product is restoration, meaning ops is second to that. And it's interesting because having been in our industry for close to 20 years, my goodness, I'm old. What I've learned is that when things are going good, it's never because of sales, it's because of ops. But when the world is falling apart, it's because sales didn't do something. And I'm like, I don't like that. That does not align with me at all. Because if we understand that for us to increase sales, what is sales? Let's go back to what sales is and what sales is not. For me, as a sales trainer, I believe that every conversation a person A has with a person B, where we start with a purpose and where we expect some kind of buy-in, is sales. So if you remember that if you want to grow in sales, you are going to want to train your team to become sales driven. So you need to look at your company as a sales company, and your product that you deliver is restoration. So I'm going to ask you guys, and you can put that on the chat here. You can unmute yourself and collaborate. But when was the last time that your whole team was trained in sales techniques? Because for you to build a sales plan for 2024, let me tell you guys, your team is going to have to become sales driven. You're going to have to train your team in sales techniques. So when was the last time? When was the last time that your whole team was trained in sales and communication techniques. Think about that, because where focus goes, energy flows. You train your team for IICRC certification. You train your team to deliver on ops, but you're not training your team in sales and you want to grow in sales. Do you see the disconnect? So if you can leave this webinar with something, leave with, I needed to equip my team to deliver on the growth that I want to produce. And the growth that I want to produce will come from training them into becoming sales driven. So what is success? What does success means to you? We're talking about success because it's, 2023, and, being Brazilian, Brazilians love to chant a song at December 31st, right at midnight, that loosely translated sounds something like this. Tons of money in my pocket and so much health that I can share and sell to others. But while Brazilians are chanting that song at midnight, December 31st, you guys, they are spending money they don't have with things that they don't need to impress the relatives they don't even like, eating too much junk, drinking too much alcohol. So chanting about what we want, if we don't embrace a lifestyle, it's not going to change things. So what does success means to you? So for me, when I consult with restoration companies, and we're doing all that we're doing right now this last week of December to do a year-end review to see where the sales came from, what adjustments we have to make to ops, what we need to do to scale 2024, we're looking at what do we want? How do we define the success of each organization? Increase profit, increase revenue, increase profitability in one end, just the overall number. Is it by the number of jobs? Is it by the number of leads? What is our lead to job conversion? What are some of the ops metrics? I want to speak a little bit about lead to job conversion, because the lead to job conversion should be 70% from the time that the phone rings to you scheduling an appointment, and 90% when you show up at an appointment and signing the job. What are your conversions? Because there's two sides to lead conversions. Number one side to lead conversion, the quality of the lead. The quality of the lead is very important. So if you're having digital strategies and the message is not aligned, you're not going to get quality leads. But when you're producing relationship leads, meaning you have a business development person going through a strategic program where they understand conversion numbers to produce the leads, the quality should be higher. Why? Because as a business development person, manager, I have the power to influence behavior. So the leads that I get should be of higher quality. Otherwise, there's a disconnect. So there's two sides to first generating the lead for the lead conversion, right? The quality of the lead. But the other one is your ops team ability to sell and close the job. Do you each know who your number one closer is? Because your number one closer for your organization should be the one that's training others to close more. And I work with organizations whose conversions are 35%. I work with organizations who have a guy that closes 9 out of 10 quality leads. And the difference is their ability to sell, to influence behavior, to understand that sales is every conversation a person A has with a person B, where they start with a purpose and they want a clear objective, right? But it's interesting because a lot of people they are great at showing up at a job and starting to extract the water, but you're also sending that guy to sign that client. But that guy has no idea, that guy or girl has no idea how to influence behavior, how to analyze personalities, how to get people to a yes. That's a problem, because if your conversions are lower, you have a BDM that's working out there, in the case of the BDM, and producing quality leads, but the conversion does not show the potential of what that same effort could produce. It's kind of like the parable of the seeds, right? You throw seeds, one fell in rocky ground, the other one was picked up by the bird. But what we want is seeds that are planted in fertile ground that we're going to water so that they can grow. So what adjustments do you need to make to your ops to make sure that your conversions are higher? Because the average nationwide for the industry for healthy conversions are 70%. Write that down. That might be a good indicator of where you want to go. All right. So a simplified way to look at your restoration business. I'm a simple person. I blame everything on being Brazilian. So I'm Brazilian. I'm a simple person, the way I look at things. And here's the simple way of looking at your restoration business. You have the CEO, who is the visionary of what he wants. You have sales and marketing, and you have operations. That's it. It's very simple. And it's not different than any other business. You have somebody making the phone ring, the other one selling the product and delivering on the product. That's it. That's the reality of most business. And because it's the reality of most business, you guys, this is the main reason why most business will fail in the first year. Imagine Betty, who loved to bake cakes, and her family says, oh my gosh, your cakes are amazing. You need to open a bakery. You need to open a bakery. She now opens a bakery. Her overhead is this high. She doesn't know how to do sales. She knows how to bake cakes. And pretty soon her business is not fun and it's not sustainable because she doesn't have a way to produce leads. And I have friends that are CEOs and head of large sales organizations throughout the world. And the challenge is always the same: making the phone ring. Your marketplace is becoming more and more competitive. We know that digital leads are so expensive nowadays. So if you don't know how you're going to produce your clients, it doesn't matter how phenomenal you are at bringing a house back to pre-loss condition. Your business will not be sustainable. So producing clients, let's focus on that because that is my area of expertise. And I have only extracted water a few times and processed content after a smoke damage. But let's talk about producing clients. Marketing strategies are important. Brand recognition is important. Online leads are important. Relationship leads are important. And selling the job is very important. We talked about conversion and how those conversions will play a part into what you're trying to do. Because I know that you got, when it comes to ops, the phone rings, your team is going to go there. And as soon as the job is signed, you're going to deliver a great job. So how do we look at the sales side of things? It's a sales funnel. The market segment that you want to get business from will produce your prospects. Then we need to find out if they are qualified prospects, the ideal referral source. Okay. We should all know what our type is. I don't know for you guys that, at some point in your life dated, we all had a type, right? We all had a type. I had a type. I wanted to marry a white boy with blue eyes because I wanted a blonde kid with blue eyes. That was my type, right? Being Brazilian and all. I joke about these things, but when we go back into the marketplace, do we know who our ideal plumber is? Who our ideal property manager is? Who our ideal agent is or adjuster is? Do you guys know who your ideal lead source is? Ted, Josh, Bess, Brad, Stelly. Do you know? Write it down. And if you don't know who your ideal client is or referral source, please at least write down the one that you will not tolerate. Because that which you tolerate over time, you're endorsing as this is fantastic. I'm in with it. Okay. You need to have clear metrics. Not everybody is your ideal referral source. And I usually ask my clients, what would a referral source needs to do for you to want to personally wake up at 3 a.m. in the middle of a snowstorm to go and help that guy? I don't know what it is for you guys. I know for me what my ideal client is, right? And my ideal clients are the ones that I work with. And whoever's not ideal are the ones that I don't want to work with. Why? Because when you tolerate negative behavior, negative traits, and less than what you need, you start lowering your level of service. to those people. Because we never, it's like, you know, that grandma or aunt of ours that we always avoided talking to. Because every time that we picked up the phone and a person called, it was like, oh my gosh, it's going to drain all the happiness that's left in me, right? Who don't you want to do business with? That's important. Why is that important when we create a sales funnel, you guys? Because that is going to impact the questions that you need to ask to identify if that person is ideal or not ideal. Okay. Then we needed to get from those qualified prospects, people who will agree to give us business. Very important, because it's not just because somebody is an ideal doesn't mean that you marry them, right? For all of us who are married here on this call, it's not because the person was ideal that we married them, right? So out of the ideal referral sources, there's some that are going to agree to give us business. Okay, we identify them, fantastic. Now they need to agree to give us business. And then we're going to take this a layer deeper, which is the opportunity to sign more jobs, right? Because once they agreed, they are going to give us leads and we're going to convert those leads. And for me, it's very important in our industry to make an adjustment to what a lead is. A plumber is not a lead. A plumber is a referral source or a lead producer. A lead is when the plumber calls me and says, Mary Johnson has water damage. Once I sign Mary Johnson, now she's no longer a lead. She is a client, right? And that is what's going to produce revenue. Are we good so far? Is that aligning? Is that Ted and Tyler, the small thing that maybe you guys are going to need to start implementing? So what do you want? Sometimes we start with what we don't want. Sometimes we start with what we want. If you want to produce another $1 million next year, you need to divide that by the number, by your average job size. And here's how I calculate average job sizes. People do it differently. This is how I do it, 20 years doing this. Total revenue divided by the number of unique files. Okay, so let me tell you what a unique file is. 23-0101 is a unique file. It might have a C extension, a M extension, an R extension to that same job. You guys use different systems with Xactimate and with Dash. There's different parts to the job. But for me, a unique job is Mary Johnson, not Mary Johnson Recon, not Mary Johnson Mold, not Mary Johnson Content, not Mary Johnson Water. Mary Johnson, unique file. Divide your total revenue. We're almost done with the year. 2023's numbers divided by the number of unique files, you're going to see your average job size. Do that for 2022 too, and see if there's a difference between 2022 and 2023. Do it for 2021. Heck, do it for as long as you have been in business. Most people do not know their average job size. And it's painful for me to see that people are trying to grow. They know processes for extracting water. They don't know sales. So divide that by your average job size. You're going to see how many jobs are needed to produce your goal. In this example here, 100 jobs. Even the Brazilian can do the math, right? What are your conversions? 50%. Wow, if it's 50%, then you're going to need 200 leads to get to the 100 signed jobs. That times 10,000 average job size will produce $1 million, okay? But where are they going to come from? Where are those leads and opportunities going to come from? So one of the ways that I look at this structure of how much you want is if you already have a team in place, how many accounts or contacts produce the number of jobs that you signed this year, right? What was the process like? What was the process like to get from prospects to people that agreed to give you business, that gave you leads? That is the first place for you to start with an established BDM to create the plan for 2024. And I'm having these conversations like day in and day out. I sound like a parrot. Even my son, because I work from home, the other day said, Mom, you should just record yourself and play it, because you're having this conversation like 100 times a day. Well, not 100, but at least 10, where I'm like, okay, what was the process? How many people did you put through your prospecting funnel that landed you 28 people that gave you jobs, that produced $100,000? Because that is how we scale, you guys. And I learned scaling businesses back as a 17-year-old girl in Brazil, opening my first business where I sold weight loss supplements. And for me to get my clients, I needed to put flyers out there in the marketplace. For every 1,000 flyers that I put out, I got 20 calls. For every 20 calls, I scheduled 10 appointments. And because I was 17 and I was not really good with sales, for every 10 appointments, I made 2 sales. Each one, my profit was $50. That's how I made it 100. I made $100. So when people ask me for the recipe to make $200 instead of $100, for me, it was easy. 2,000 flyers. The challenge is that when people will say, well, that's too hard. And I'm like, I don't know any other way. Right? Because check this out. What you lack in skills, you make up in numbers. What you lack in skills, you make up in numbers. But here's another side to that with your BDMs. What they lack in market penetration, they have to make up in numbers. This is very important. What they lack in market penetration, they need to make up in numbers. And do you guys know that in the first year of the BDM, create a campaign for the marketplace to get relationship leads, for every 3 qualified accounts, they're only going to get 1 lead per year in the first year? That's why it's mind-boggling to me when people post in some of those groups that we're part of, what should I expect from a BDM in the first year? And people put some crazy numbers over there without knowing average job size, without knowing conversions, without knowing the conversions for qualified prospects and results. And people do not like to hear that. That's usually when I have people starting to hang up the phone on me when I say it's going to take 320 accounts that you're visiting with every single month for you to produce 100 leads in the first year. And people say that it's impossible. And I joke with them, well, the word itself says I'm possible. So you just needed to rearrange some things here. But the reality is I've done it. Not only I've done it personally, I have implemented this program with thousands of BDMs throughout the years in different parts of the country. And it's the same thing. Worst case scenario, for every 3 you're going to get 1. Why? Because the marketplace has, you need to write this down, pre-established patterns of behavior. Plumbers are using somebody else. Agents might be sending things to claims department. Property managers might be trying to take care of things internally. So if the marketplace has pre-established patterns of behavior, what I, as a BDM, lack in market penetration, I must make up in numbers. You need to write this down. Because when this program doesn't produce the results that it should, it is often because people had expectations, write this down, that exceed the reality of the marketplace. And they believe that just because they showed up with a smile, a logoed pen, people are going to give them work tomorrow. Now, let's switch this around to personal relationships. Just because you showed up with a smile, did you get the person to marry you at the end of that date? It doesn't work. Even my husband waited 6 days before he proposed to me. It takes time, right? It takes time. And I'm sharing these things with you guys because we need to just start switching our mentality about what we can expect from the marketplace. So 320 accounts means that your BDM is going to be in and out of their car 16 times a day, visiting with accounts. Can I call them on the phone? And no, this is not an inside sales position. This is a lead generating position through strategic relationships. This is revenue. And revenue here is produced by jobs that are signed. Jobs that are signed are produced by leads that are given to us, by people who agree to give us business, by people that we identified as ideal lead sources because we were building a relationship with them. Last time I checked, nobody accepted a marriage proposal from somebody on Tinder that they did not even FaceTime with. Crazy stories might happen, but they end up in one of those crazy shows that we don't want to watch because it gives us nightmares. So why would it be different with the relationships that we are trying to build to produce results? So 320 accounts are going to equal about 106 leads in the first 12 months. What is your conversion? Healthy conversion, 70%. That's going to produce you about 75 jobs. If your average job size is $14,000, which is the average match for a lot of companies who work with, for example, Elk Mount estimates, that's the average ticket for mitigation that we are seeing over there. And my clients have reported on that. Then the efforts of 320 accounts will produce about $1 million. So if there's one thing that I would expect is that after you guys leave this webinar, if you ever see a post in one of those groups that says, what can I expect from my BDM in the first year, that at the very least, you guys are going to say, talk to Richelli, because there are questions to be answered before we can know what that is, right? Because if the person, think about it, think with me, their conversions are 30% and their average job size is 1,000, do you see how the numbers are going to be very different, right? Come on, even the Brazilian can see it, right? It's easy. Conversions 30%. This is going to equal 30 jobs times 1,000 average job size, which, believe it or not, I have heard this person is going to produce 30,000. Oh, that's impossible. Dude, it's your numbers. I can't do magic, because the only thing that your BDM can control is activity, planting the seeds, watering the seeds, taking care of the seeds. Are we good so far? Like, is this sinking in? Because this is like basic stuff to me, because I talk about it all the time, but I want to make sure that I'm actually adding value to what you guys are trying to produce here. Awesome stuff. Okay. So healthy business mix. So back when I was the director of sales training for a big franchisor in the restoration industry, what we used to teach new offices was that a healthy business mix will come from at least 50% of your leads coming from relationships, 25% coming from some type of like digital SEO or PPC, and the other 25% coming from a TPA or some type of online leads like 33 Miles, Inquiry, Service Direct. Okay. Now, in our industry, seems like everybody loves to trash TPAs, and I'm not here to defend or to promote either, but I'll tell you this. A TPA will never cost you more than 8 cents on the dollar to produce a job that's pretty much guaranteed. It's not even a lead. It comes to you as an assignment. Oh, but it's going to mess up with my COGS, my cost of goods sold. That's very true. But have you done the math of how long it actually takes to build relationships and how much it can actually cost you to produce those leads? Now, relationship leads, they have a lifetime value associated with them, because on the first year, for every three, right? We talked about it, for every 3 qualified prospects, you're going to get 1 lead. What we didn't talk about is that on year 3, for every 1 qualified prospect, you get 3 leads, right? Which we really get excited about those numbers. But you get from year 1 to year 3, it means that for a lot of my clients, the cost of job acquisition or customer acquisition in the first year is going to be a bit higher, right? So going back to this slide here, understanding what percentage of this 14,000 do I want to put towards the cost of acquiring the 14,000, right? That's a mathematical equation that we need to have a conversation about, that I can help you calculate, but it's very important that one understands that it's going to cost. So a healthy business mix means that I want relationship leads. That's what I really want. But in the very beginning, I might need to have some TPA leads or online leads. And I might also want to have a strategy, and we're not going to have a lot of time, let's see my time, to expand on that here right now, but a strategy to capitalize on every possible person that might be associated with my online lead. Who is the agent? Who is the adjuster? Do you have a property manager? What other contractor has come into your job? And then use that information to put through my sales funnel and have targeted conversations with those people to convert them into relationship leads, right? That's very, very important. You can put a stop on a TPA or a lead for a period of time. You can do the same thing with the digital, but this is the fastest way to make your phone ring. It's going to cost you more, and it will always be that cost per lead, while relationship leads, the lifetime value, it tends to decrease the cost of the lead acquisition or the customer acquisition. Okay. Also, so far, so good. You guys with me? Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. So relationship leads. We just have a couple of minutes here. I want to go over this with you guys. Relationship leads. Here are some boring statistics that you guys should know as you create your plan for 2024. Okay. For plumbers, for every 100 service calls that a plumber goes to, up to 25 can turn into a lead for us of water or mold. Challenge to find out how they identify that somebody has a water or mold damage on a job. Okay. But up to 25 can come to you. Okay. What would be your ideal plumber that you want to work with? We talked about that. Social media presence, maybe number of vehicles, type of service they offered, number of leads per month. You need to determine that. Maybe what they expected, referral fees. That's up to you. I'll love to assist. Property managers, for every 100 units, up to 14 will have a problem that would need your services per year. So they can give you up to 14 leads per year. Okay. But what's their process? What is their process for addressing fire, smoke, water, mold damage? How much they handle in-house versus at what point they call a restoration company? Okay. Very important. That helps you to create your ideal property manager profile. Insurance agents, love this one. For every 100 property policy holders, up to 5 will produce a lead per year. This comes from the Department of Insurance. That 5.5% of all the households will have a property claim filed per year. Okay. It's important that you know that, but then you need to find out with that agent. What is their process? Do they send everything to claims department, or do they want to create strategic relationships? Right? People love to say, oh, agents don't refer out anymore. Dude, you stop by their office twice and you expect that they're going to tell you everything that's happening in their agency? Come on. Come on. That's why people date for at least 3 months. According to my husband, who is a psychologist, it takes 3 months for people to default back to their natural patterns of behavior, right? We can't stop by an agent once and expect that they're going to tell us how many property policy holders they have, what their process is, what they like and dislike about it. They don't know us. And we need to make adjustments to that too. That's why this is a process. That's why you're in front of your prospects once a month. And you have a process that it's adapted to each vertical. Okay. Digital strategies, important too. Are you going to improve your SEO? Are you going to create brand awareness items? Are you going to have a reputation management? Because regardless of how you're building leads for relationships, here's what happens out there, you guys. There's something called the 0 moment of truth. And here's what the 0 moment of truth means. That when people hear your name, they Google you. How many of you guys here have Googled me or searched for me on social media when you receive this invite? It's what happens, right? And some of you guys might be very confused because I also practice a healthy, active lifestyle and I'm always at the gym. But that's what happens. People search for you, which also leads to another pointer that I'll give you here. If somebody calls you, you answer the phone and you ask, how did you hear about us? And they say online, please, oh, please ask them, did you search for our services or for our name? And if they say, I search for your name, ask them, who told you, Mrs. Johnson, about us? Okay. Because a lot of relationship leads are being miscategorized as digital leads. Okay. And that is why, you know, if Stelly sends me a message, I'm like, how did you hear about me? And he was like, well, I Googled it. I would ask, like, did you search my name or did you search my services? Oh, I searched your name. How'd you hear about me? Oh, the Rebels group. You see, we needed to find a correlation because we need to have clarity on our source of leads. Some of my clients, as we went through year-end review, more than 1/3 of their business has been either miscategorized or we didn't know the source of. How are we going to scale if I don't know where the leads came from, where the business came from? I don't know. Right? I don't know. But those are the questions that we need to ask. Okay. All right. Since you guys were a very soft, not soft. No, that's not the word. Less talkative group. we are kind of wrapping up here in half of the time, or 40 minutes into the time that we had here. So I wanted to open for Q&A. What are some of the questions that you guys have on the material? This is a way to connect with me. If you guys open your phone, you're going to find me on Facebook, find me on LinkedIn. And at the very least, if you want to give me a good recommendation on LinkedIn from what we discussed today, that would be great. But what are some of the questions that you guys have over the material that we shared today, so that we can have a little bit of, spend the rest of our time here on a Q&A? Questions? Otherwise, I'm going to change that too. What is the one thing that stood out to you from what we covered today?
This is really great. Thank you so much. I guess one of my questions are, like, if you're opening up a new location in a market, how to really make those networking connections, those relationships in a new market.
Absolutely. You do the same thing that we covered here. You're going to create a list of 320 accounts that fit the description of the people you want to get business from. You're going to organize them in routes. You're going to engage with them strategically, visiting with them at least once per month, putting them through your sales funnel of the questions that you use to qualify and quantify them, identify if they are potential lead sources, and driving behavior towards that agreement. So whether you open a new market or a new market segment within the same region, it's still the same thing. For every 3 accounts, you're going to get 1 lead per year. So every BDM that is just starting out should have 320 accounts that they are visiting with every single month.
Great, thank you so much. Every single month. That's,
yeah, every single
create month. Them, but it's trying to figure out the timeline. Like, how frequently do you have those touch points? So thank you.
Once a month, yeah, 320. And that's why, Kimberly, this is very simple, and people complicate the program, because when they go out there to do visits, they're like, but I had to spend the whole day doing this. I'm like, dude, you got hired to visit with accounts. I don't know what you want me to tell you. That's the job. An 8 to 5 visiting with accounts. That's what, and you need to make best friends with 320 people and ask questions, and of course, move them through a sales funnel. Thank you, Kimberly. What else you guys stood out to you guys from what we covered today? Okay, so I'm going to switch the question around again. What is the one thing that you're going to start implementing right away?
Oh, there we go. That I was like trying to find the words for it here.
Oh, of course.
So, I really appreciate just all the reminders. Honestly, Tyler was sitting there listening, and I was like, oh, we used to do this and that. And then I realized, like, I've let some things slip that, we were just tracking and quantifying weekly, monthly, quarterly, and things just got so busy during the last 3 years. A lot of Zoom calls, people weren't wanting to shake hands and hug. And so that's pretty much my takeaway, is to dive into 2024 with like the just a real mindset again, and prune off what's not working, help what's flourishing and fruiting, and move forward.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Ted. Takeaways, you guys. What are you going to start implementing right away?
I think I'm going to reinstitute the your sales funnel. I was doing that previously, and had to get pushed out of that because too much other things came up. Now I've got the staff in place to be able to actually focus on the sales funnel and go out and do it.
Very good, Bess. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else would like to share? Okay, so how about this? For all of you guys who want to explore some of these topics individually, the first 3 people that connect with me on LinkedIn and give a recommendation on LinkedIn will get a free session with me. Okay, they're going to get a complimentary session where we can take a deeper dive into some of the questions that they have from this webinar and from some previous materials that I have covered too. I don't hold anything back. I'm a consultant, so I'm here to consult. And for some of you guys who are ready to take the next step into becoming a sales-driven organization, please connect with me. I would love to discuss with you how I can personalize my 2-month sales boot camp to help your team succeed and produce the results they want. Okay, so again, connect with me, and that's the picture on the left of the screen inside of the fake phone here. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a recommendation. The first 3 people will get access to have a consultation with me. All right, you guys, my commitment for 2024 is to put a webinar out every single month to cover a topic that's hot in the industry that can help people to produce the results that they want. I'm very excited for this opportunity to serve you guys and help you guys succeed like the many others that I have helped with, and the over $500 million that combined my clients produced this year. So I'm excited to see your results. If this is not for you, share the opportunity and the message with somebody else. That might be something that they can benefit from. I believe that the more we share, the more we can help ourselves and others. And I will stay here for another 2 minutes if anybody else has questions. Otherwise, Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys in 2024.
Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Really?
Thanks, Kimberly, Brad.
Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Thank
Crystal.
you.
Have a great day, you too. Thanks, Lauren. All right. Okay, we're wrapping up here.
So, Richelle,
Yes.
I'm the new business development manager for American Water Damage Restoration. So I just start going in the field, because there in the field is the action, and you can see it's a new business for me. So I've been working in medical field. I was selling automatic machine for laboratories. So it's very different. It's my first experience in America. So I'm new here. I just have 1.5 years. So I just, they give me the permit for working, so the green card. So I just started. I was realized, because I was going in the field, I told you, that a number of 12 or 40 or 5 or 50, leads, that's enough. That isn't enough, to do it in one day, because I have another 3 hours that I can do more, So my target now is for 20, if I will be there, I think I will be successful for the first year, because the quality will not be the same in the first year, that's for sure. So I need to work on quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the response from I've been visiting just agents, insurance agents.
Mhm.
So their response for me is pretty good. And now I'm monitorized, because I was speaking with Andrea. She told me about your number. So we are monitorized, what's that percent that I will close.